Hi, my name is Meena,
And I'm Alexander.
and we did our project on sleep deprivation at Bubbas. We have a picture here of the outside of Bubbas and Alex and I doing the iconic Dr. Dement pose.
So here's just the general setup. On the left, on one of the TVs, we're able to connect to our laptop. We have Jeopardy board, kind of, and then categories ranging from caffeine to work and school effects on sleep and general health associated with sleep, and some fun facts about other cultures and sleep, such as siestas and Eni Murray from Japan. And in the middle, we have like the big trifold board. On the left, we have pictures of caffeinated beverages, common ones, put an X through it. And the question was, does caffeine help for sleep deprivation? And which we know it does not. It is a common misconception. And in the middle, we have a participation activity where people write down sticky notes what they do when they're tired on their shift, which most people would associate with drinking energy drinks and whatnot. And on the right, we have a plethora of people who are commonly sleep deprived as a result of their jobs, such as parents, EMTs, firefighters, and doctors. And then we also have little stickers just as a way so people keep them. And then when they look at it, they'll think of our sleep event. And also, it's associated with the brain, which is also very cool. And then the restaurant was able to give us appetizer vouchers, so more people would hopefully come, they get a free voucher, and we also have brochures, which we'll get into later.
Here were some of the most important outcomes. We had talked to 28 people, a combination of people who worked there and people who came to dine. And we spoke to each individual for about 4 to 10 minutes. Some important points of outcome of this experiment or this project was on the bottom, we see Alex explaining a whiteboard, which is zoomed in right here. That was the retinothalamic pathway, which we had a question about on Jeopardy, and people were super curious and interested to learn more. So that was awesome. And then we have a picture in the middle of Alex speaking to people at a booth where some diners were interested in learning about sleep, but didn't necessarily want to come to the board. So we also made that work by going up to them. And then we also see a close up on the left side of the center of our board where we had the interactive component where individuals could respond to the question, what do you do when you're tired? They were surprised to find out that a lot of their coping skills were not necessarily the most effective or beneficial, but it was interesting to see that a lot of people they just either deal with it or drink a caffeinated drink. And then we also have some other pictures here of some of our participants.
And then getting more about the resources people would take home. The main one was the brochure, which I felt really proud of making. The front cover we have is kind of like a general thing. It's kind of similar to the thing Dr. Skolin said the first day of class, how sleep must provide some sort of very well needed evolutionary adaptation because we sleep for a third of our life, meaning it has to be important and we should treat it as such. And then in the middle, as we open the flaps, we have various topics that would help people out as people who aren't associated with Baylor are most likely on shift work or they go to the other schools such as TSDC or McLennan, such as misconceptions about caffeine and melatonin, which are very big in culture nowadays. As people drink caffeine just to feel not tired, in reality, they could have gotten more sleep the last night. And people who try to supplement more sleep, rather their sleep behaviors are badly associated, such as being on their phones, etc. They'll try to take melatonin, which, as we've seen, doesn't have as strong as effects as people will think they might have, and depending on the time they take it. And I put tips on how sleep can be improved, such as no screen time, blackout curtains would be nice. If you feel tired, just go back, come back. Only use the bed for sleeping is a big one. And the cool little stickers, which I have one right now. It's a music note massaging the brain. The message to this one is music soothes the brain, I believe.
Here are some things that we learned. One, our location was in a little bit of a corner to be respectful of diners and not be intrusive of their dinners. But at the same time, we did get very little foot traffic. So something we could do next time is maybe table near the front door where people are walking through and they can just stop by briefly for as long as they'd like. Another thing we noticed was the question difficulty of the Jeopardy questions. I have some pictures listed up there of some of the questions we had. They vary in difficulty, but we did generally overestimate the amount of knowledge that the average person has about sleep and the processes behind sleep.
And some of the best moments, some we might hint at earlier, was the one talking to many people because it's very fun to talk to people about a subject matter you actually somewhat knew about and it could help people with, such as the family I talked to in the booth. They were an older couple, like 50 to 60. The wife no longer worked. The male did. He graduated from TSDC about, I think he said like 20 plus years ago. And they were just a joy to talk to. I talked to them for like 5 to 10 minutes about multiple things, such as aging and sleeping, working, and then the woman as well went through menopause, which she shared, and how that has negative effects on sleep as well. And then participation from the other people as the sticky notes were very, as we can see, like what they tend to do, which most of the time they would just drink some caffeinated beverages, which we've learned is not necessarily a good idea, especially with later shifts, such as you work a shift like 8 or 10 o'clock at night. You shouldn't be drinking a caffeinated beverage like that. And then just in general, with the Jeopardy thing, just educating people on how they can improve their sleep and what happens inside your body as well. It's a joy.
And that is a general summary of our project. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.